Welcome to the third mat Pilates session. So we're going to start with our feet hip distance apart. We're going to be nice and soft in the knees, and then you're going to imagine that your pelvis is a bowl of water. So you don't want the water to spill too far forward or too far backwards. So we want to keep it really nice and balanced so you've got that nice alignment. We're going to make sure our chin is parallel to the mat, and we're just going to do some head twists. So you're going to look to one side and then to another and come back to centre. So bringing our hands onto our rib cage, we're going to inhale through the nose and we're going to exhale through the mouth. So we're going to start our lateral breathing pattern. So inhale through the nose, the hands are coming out, and you exhale and squeezing the hands together as you exhale through the lips. So let's do a few big deep breaths, trying to breathe into the lateral sides of your body. And the reason we do this is so that when we exhale, we can squeeze and crunch the abdominals and the core. So release the hands. And let's roll the shoulders up and back down. So inhale to come up and exhale to drop back down. Inhale to come up, nice big shoulder rolls, and exhale to come back down. Inhale, come up, and exhale back down, just releasing any tension that's in the neck. Maybe we've been sat at a computer all day, sat looking at our phones, and let's keep going. Inhale to come up, and exhale to come back down. So throughout the practice, we want to make sure that the shoulders aren't bunching up towards the ears. You want to make sure they're nice and relaxed. And let's go forward. So same motion. You're inhaling to come up and exhale down. Now we're going to incorporate the arms. So as you inhale, the arms are coming up above your head. And as you exhale, they're coming down the sides of your body. And then inhale to come up and exhale to go back down. So we're starting to warm up the trapezius, all of your arm muscles, building up the strength in your upper body to help support your spine and your neck. So let's keep going. And on the inhale, we're still keeping our lateral breathing in mind. So then the arms are coming up to shoulder height, and we're going to do some circles going forward. And we're going to make the circles bigger and bigger with that forward motion, keeping your chin parallel to the mat, making sure that your core's still nice and tight. You're squeezing your pelvic floor on every exhale. So keep going with the rotations forward, and then we're going to stop and you're going to go backwards. So really small circles to start off with, and then gradually getting bigger and bigger, trying to build the rhomboids and all your deep back muscles. So then let's go as big as you can, and notice if one side of the body, maybe one shoulder's tighter than the other, maybe one side of your neck's tighter than the other. Just try and be aware of the differences in the two sides. So relax the arms. We're going to come back up, and this time we're going to flex the hands from the wrists. So the hands are going down, and then they're going back up again. And now let's try swapping. So one up, one down. And this is going to give you a nice stretch all the way along the arms. And then release and come back down. Inhale. On the exhale, we're going to twist the head over to one side, and then you're going to twist to the other side. So inhale and exhale to twist. So making sure that the shoulders stay facing forward, the hips are forward, and you're just moving from the base of the skull. Let's do a few more, going backwards and forwards. And then we're going to look over one side and hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Swap sides and hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back to center. Inhale. On the exhale, we're going to slide all the way down to one side. Your hand's going to try and reach your knee, and the opposite hand is coming into your armpit. So you give yourself a really nice lateral stretch as you bend down and into it. So try and reach as far towards your knee as possible, and then come back to neutral before you go again. So we're inhaling as you come up and exhaling as you go back down. And keep going. Again, trying to mobilize and warm up the spine. Hips are straight, they're not moving at all. So keep going and flow into this movement. Then we're going to do an advance slightly. So as you come over, you're going to shoot over the opposite arm above the head and really push into that lateral stretch. So as one arm goes down towards the knee, the other one comes all the way over. If you find that your shoulder blades are cracking and crunching, don't worry. If you've got a lot of knots, we are going to work on sorting those out. So I want you to bring your legs slightly wider than hip distance apart. So they're nice and wide. We're going to inhale. On the exhale, we're going to link the fingers together. We're going to push down towards the floor, bending the knees, and then shoot the arms up towards the ceiling. So you're coming all the way down. The bum's coming towards the mat. You're touching the hands on the mat, and then you're coming straight back up again, shooting the arms directly above the head. So if you can't get that far down, do not worry. If you can't touch the floor, that's absolutely fine. Just go as low as you can. And try and make sure that when you go down, you're bending the legs and you come into the middle, so in between the feet. And this is going to make sure that you aren't leaning over to one side or to the other. So then bring your feet back together. Realign your posture. So make sure that you're nice and soft in the knees, feet are hip distance apart, shoulders are up and down, your pelvis and your tailbone is curved forward, so you've got that crunch in your abdominals. And we're going to lift up the left knee, and you're going to drop down, and then you're going to change and lift up the right knee. So you come into that 90-degree angle. If you need help with this balancing movement, then feel free to put your hand against the wall. So now we're going to advance on this movement, and as we go up with the knee, you're also going to go up with the opposite arm. So imagine that you stood underneath an apple tree and you're reaching to try and grab the apple and pull it back down. And you want to try and go up with the arm and the leg at the same time, and then drop down at the same time. And as you move the weight from one leg to another, try and keep as stable as you can on that leg that you're moving on to. So we're not wobbling too much as you come back down. So then we're going to lift up our right leg, and we're just going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly start to bring the leg back down. And we're going to change to the other side. So lift the leg to a nice 90-degree angle, and then let's hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it back down. Lift up the right leg, and we're just going to roll out the foot. So the ankle is twisting clockwise, and then we're going to stop, and you're going to go anti-clockwise. So feel that nice rotation in your ankle all the way through your leg, keeping yourself nice and upright, and then swap to the opposite side. So the left leg is making some circular rotations from the ankle, and you might notice that one side is stiffer than the other. And then let's go the opposite direction, which is sometimes a little bit more difficult. And then drop the feet, relax the legs, and we're now going to do some hip hinges. So keeping your hands on your pelvic girdle, on your hips, we're just going to tilt the body forward, keeping the back straight, and then come back up to the center. So imagine that you are a hinge, you go into that 90-degree angle, and then you're coming all the way back up. So you want to imagine that your upper body is becoming parallel with the mat. You don't want to go further down. And this is going to really help lengthen the hamstrings, create more mobility in the hips. And then you want to come back up. And try and make this movement quite slow. So there's a temptation to rush to come back up, but try and do it as slow as you can, so you've got more control and precision over the movement. So now release the hands, come back to the center of your mat, feet are hip distance apart, and we're going to roll up onto our toes and shoot the arms up. We're going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back down, release the arms. Inhale to prepare. On the exhale, come back up. Squeeze the glutes, raise the arms up. We're going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop all the way back down. Come into the edge of your mat and we're going to do our roll down. So make sure the knees are nice and soft, the pelvis is tucked in, the navel's towards the back of the spine. We're going to inhale to prepare. On the exhale, you're going to roll forward, drop the head, keeping your hands going all the way down your shins, making contact with the feet if you can. And then we're going to bend the knees. The bum's going to come down towards the mat as the spine curves. And then you're going to shoot the bum back into the air, keeping the head down, keeping the hands towards the mat, and then slowly roll back up to neutral. So let's try that again. So we're inhaling to prepare, exhaling, roll the back, roll yourself down, keeping contact with the legs. If you need to, bend the knees to get closer to the mat, and then come all the way down with the bum. So the knees are fully bent and you're nearly sat on the mat. And then shoot the bum back into the air and slowly start to peel yourself back up to neutral, allowing the head to be the last to come up. Come back up. Let's just do an alignment check, and then we're going back down. So roll all the way back down. Hands are coming along to the feet, and this time we're going to walk the hands out and you're going to come into a downward facing dog. So inhale here through the nose, and then a nice big exhale, and we're coming onto all fours. Before we begin at this point, you might want to get your towel, and you can either place it where your hands are for some wrist support, or if you have bad knees, you might want to place it under your knees for some support. So wherever you need it, please put it there, and let's get ready to begin. For the main phase of our exercises today, we're going to be doing a lot of movements in this all four position. First thing we're going to do is inhale. You're going to come up onto your toes and you're going to lift the knees slightly above the mat, making sure the back's nice and straight and you're still pushing through the shoulders. So then you're coming back up again. We're holding for just a few seconds and then we're coming down. So you're inhaling to prepare. Then on the exhale, you're going to come onto the toes, the knees come inches off the mat. You hold in that strong position, and then you come back down, the knees come onto the mat. So let's keep trying that movement, and we're going to advance slightly. So I want you to keep your feet at the same distance, but your knees are going to come up, and then they're going to tap out to the sides of the mat. They're going to come back in and back down. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, bring the knees up, shoot them to the sides of the mat, come back to the centre and come back down again. So this is going to really start working out inner thigh muscles, working on your core, your pelvic floor strength. This time when you come up, the knees are going to lift and they're going to go to the sides and back in without touching the mat. So you're not coming back down, you're going to the sides and you're coming in. And then release. Take a big deep breath in through the nose and shoot out through the mouth. And then we're going to do the same thing again. So knees are coming up and tapping towards the edge of the mat and then back in. So tap and come back in. It's quite a quick movement and then release. Come back down, knees are rested on the mat. You're doing a big inhale, and on the exhale we're coming up again for the last time. So tapping out towards the edges and then back in again. Then we're going to stop. You're going to open up the knees and you're going to come into a child's pose. So I want you to just take a breather here and try and get rid of any tension in the upper back or in your hips. And take some nice big inhales. Then slowly start to peel the body up and come back into our all fours position. So making sure you're strong in that position, pushing into the shoulders, your back's nice and flat. we're going to inhale to prepare. On the exhale, we're going to roll out the hips. So you're shooting the leg back, you're keeping the leg bent, and we're making some big circles with the knee. So the knee touches the mat, it goes all the way back, out to the side, and then comes back into the center. And then let's go again on the opposite side. So making these big dynamic circles with the knee, opening up the hip joint and the mid-back. And then come back into neutral. So knees are going to be hip distance apart, feet are untucked, and we're going to warm up into the Superman. So you inhale, on the exhale, the arm shoots out in front of you, and then you alternate and switch to the other one. So making sure that the back doesn't arch when we're doing this. So the movement's going from the top of the shoulders. And try when you come up for the hand to be parallel to the mat, and try and get the arm as high as possible. And when you come back down, make sure that the hand is going back to shoulder width apart. Then we're going to advance that movement slightly by bringing the arm into a big circle as you come round. So you're coming up with the arm, it's going to shoot all the way around to the side, towards the hip, and then back down to the mat. And you're alternating between sides again. This movement is really going to help build upper arm strength and build up those shoulder muscles and the mid-back. So then what we're going to do, find that nice neutral position again. We're going to make sure that we're nice and strong, and we're going to send out the legs. And when you shoot that leg up, try and point your toes. So this is going to really help with trying to straighten up that leg. And the straighter that you can get it, the more you're going to work your hamstrings. And make sure that when you do this, you're not arching your back. So your hips should be as straight as you can keep them, still keeping really nice and strong in the torso. And let's keep doing a few more. Really concentrating on keeping those muscles really nice and strong and tight, keeping the core tight. And then you're going to open up the knees and come back down into a child's pose. The head's going to hit the mat, the arms are going to fly out in front of you, and you're just going to take a nice big inhale and exhale. Stay in this position, and we're going to come onto our fingertips. The fingertips are going to come to the right side with both hands off the mat on the right, and you're pushing your head back into the mat to give yourself a nice stretch in your trapezius and in your back muscles. And then over to the opposite side. Come back to centre, find that nice position again, find your all four position, keeping your glare towards the mat, and then we're going into the full Superman. So you're inhaling to prepare. On the exhale, the arm and the opposite leg are coming out at the same time. So imagine that someone is pulling you from your wrist and from your ankle. And keep alternating, and as you come down, making sure that your hands and your knee are going back to the same position. So you don't want them to be coming into the centre. You want that nice box shape between your shoulder width and hip width. Keep alternating between sides and go at your own pace. So if you're finding this difficult, just slow it down slightly. This movement is really good for posture alignment, for balancing both sides of the body. Next time you come up, we're going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop it back down again, really slow and controlled. And when you get back down, open up the knees and come into a child's pose. Shoot out the arms, the head comes to the mat. And take a big inhale and exhale. Preparing and getting ready for the rest of the movements. So then really slowly start to come back up again, and we're going to do the opposite side with the hold. So coming up nice and strong, and we're going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back down, open up the knees and come back into your child's pose. So really try and relax every time that you come down into this stretch. Then you're going to slowly come back into that all four position. So find that nice strong alignment, come up with the arm and come up with the leg, and then we crunch. So we bring everything in towards the middle, curving the spine, bringing your head in so that the glare is towards the knees, and we're trying to get our elbows and our knee to come together. So you're coming out and then you're curving the spine to come in. Come out and crunch to come all the way in. Release the knees, release the arm, and we're going to do the opposite side. So the exact same thing again. Your knees coming into your chest, your elbows coming into your chest. You're really crunching the body, rounding the spine, and then coming back out. So someone's pulling you out and then crunching you back in again. So this is really going to work your core and your abdominal muscles. And then let's come back into your child's pose. And we're now going to prepare for the final movement in the all fours position before we change. So I want you to really slowly come back up again. We're going to do the same movement that we just did, but we're going to hold. So as we crunch, tighten in the core and we hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the arm, release the knee, and let's do the opposite side. So your arms and leg are coming out, and then you're crunching together really nice into that ball and hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the arm, release the knee. Come back down into child's pose. Forehead hits the mat, your arms go out in front of you. Give yourself a really nice stretch and then come back onto all fours. You're going to prepare yourself for some planks. So I want you to push into the shoulder blades, keeping your fingers nice and spread for stability, keeping your glare forward and towards the centre of the mat. You're going to shoot out the right leg and the left leg, and you're going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the knees down one by one. Take a big inhale, come into child's pose before we go again with the plank. So take a deep breath here, and then on the exhale I want you to come back up again nice and strong, and then we shoot the left leg out, the right leg comes out. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the core, hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop the leg back down, drop the left leg back down, open up the legs, come into child's pose. Take a deep breath and prepare to come back up for another set. So inhale, exhale, shoot the left leg out, the right leg. Give yourself that nice strong position, hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop the right leg, drop the left leg, and we're going to arch the spine to give yourself a nice cat stretch. So inhale and exhale to roll the tailbone under, look towards the knees and come back to neutral. Inhale, exhale to crunch and come back to neutral. So really try and bend the spine as much as you can. And let's keep going and just do a few more. Feeling where maybe different parts of the back are less mobile and trying to push into those areas. This time we're going to do thread the needle. So we're going to shoot out the right arm. We're going to thread it under the left arm and bring your head down to the mat. Inhale, and on the exhale, come back up again. And let's try and make this movement quite dynamic to give yourself a nice stretch in your trapezius and your rhomboids. Every time that you come up, make sure that you're looking towards that thumb. So you've got a stretch in the neck as well before you shoot all the way down and your head touches the mat. And this movement is really good if you have any knots under your scapula or any knots in your shoulder joint. It's going to help really stretch them out and give you more mobility in the upper back. Then what we're going to do is just hold the position there, bring your opposite arm out in front of you so you feel a deeper stretch, and then really push into that muscle. And then bring yourself up, and we're going to do the opposite side. So inhale to come up and exhale to come back down. Head touches the mat, and then you're coming back up again. Make sure that when you come back up, you're really pushing and pulling yourself towards the ceiling to open up the chest before you come back down. And your hips are going to stay really nicely in line. So your knees and your hips don't really have much movement throughout this exercise. So you're coming up, big stretch, and then dropping back down, threading underneath that arm. Then the next time that you come back down, we're just going to hold. You're going to bring the arm out in front of you, and you're just going to lean into that stretch a little bit deeper. So remembering our breathing pattern to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And on the exhale, just push into that stretch. Really feel it in your shoulders and in the sides of your body. So come back up to neutral, come back onto all fours, and we're slowly going to spin yourself round so that we can start our side lying series. So come so that you're laid down on the mat. Your head's going to rest on your arm. The other hand is going to come out in front of you for stability. Your knees are going to come to a 90-degree angle. Your hand will come onto your pelvic girdle to make sure that your hip doesn't rock back and forth. And then we're going to bring the feet together, and you're going to open up the knees as though someone is pushing a ball in between your knees. So you're inhaling to prepare, exhaling to open up the hip, keeping the feet together, and then squeezing back down again. So inhale, exhale to open, and then back down again. So really try and open those knees quite wide, but making sure that you're not rocking back and forth. So use that hand to make sure that you're really keeping that hip nice and straight and secure. Then we're going to lift up the toes and just do an advance of the movement. So shoot the toes towards the ceiling. The bottom knee is still on the mat, and then we're opening up the top knee. And again, keeping the core nice and tight. This is really going to help with strengthening those deep inner thigh muscles and just warming up the legs. So let's do a few more. And if at any point your body starts to shake, do not worry. A little bit of shaking is good. It means that we're activating all of the muscles. Then we're going to straighten out the legs, stack them on top of each other. Bring the hand out in front of you for stability. We're going to lift up that top leg. You're going to dorsiflex the foot and then bring it back down again. So inhale to come up and exhale to come back down. Inhale, come up, flex the foot and bring it back down. So as you're doing this, I want you to squeeze the glutes. And what that'll do is mean that the hip rotates forward and gives you better alignment. So let's keep going. You've only got a few more to go. And really try and push it up as high as you can. Concentrate on the breathing pattern in through the nose. And let's do 1, 2, 3, and 4. This time you're coming up and we're going to do some small circles. So I want you to imagine that you're drawing around a coffee cup and you're keeping the leg as straight as possible while squeezing the core and squeezing your pelvic floor muscles. So let's keep going. Keep it up there. I know this might be quite challenging, quite difficult on the legs, but it's going to be worth it. And then we're going to go backwards. So the tiny little circles go in the opposite direction. So this is really working your glutes, working your quads, your hamstrings, your adductors, all of those leg muscles. And then let's relax. Take a big inhale, and on the exhale you're coming up again, and we're just going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the leg back down. And we're going to come all the way back up and switch to the opposite side. So hopefully your legs should be feeling a bit of a burn, getting them really fired up. So come down exactly the same. Your head's going to rest on your arm. If you need to, put your towel there. Your other arm's coming out in front of you for stability. And then we're going to bring the legs to a 90-degree angle. Your hand's going to come onto your pelvic girdle. Your feet are going to come together and we're just going to open up the knees. So imagine that you've got a ball that's being pushed in between them and then taken away again as they come together. So you're going to inhale and then you're going to exhale to open. And each time that you open, see if you can inch just slightly more. So try and push that top leg towards the ceiling. Remember to keep your feet together. And that hand that's on your hip is going to make sure that your hip isn't rocking backwards. So this movement's coming from the top of the leg. It's really going to help open up the hips, release any tension. Then we're going to lift the feet and just do an advance of this movement. The feet are elevated off the mat. The toes are still together, pointing towards the ceiling. Your hands are still on your pelvic girdle and you're still opening up the hip. So this just adds a little bit of pressure and adds a bit of strengthening movements to the legs. So rather than just being a mobility exercise, it's also a strengthening exercise. And let's keep going, opening up a bit wider each time. And then we're going to drop all the way back down. Your legs are going to stack on top of each other. Your hands are going to come out by your side and we're going to lift up that leg, dorsiflex the foot and then bring it all the way back down. Very controlled. Tap the foot and shoot it all the way back up again. So bring it back down and we're shooting it back up. Making sure that you're squeezing in the glutes. You want to try and imagine pushing the hips forward. So you've got that really beautiful alignment at the back. Making sure that the neck's not looking towards the feet. You want to keep your glare forward. And then we're going to do some small circles. So there's tiny little rotations. I want you to imagine that you're going all the way around a coffee cup. Really small, really controlled, really precise. And then we're going to shoot the leg backwards and do exactly the same thing. So go in the opposite direction. So really smooth. In Pilates, all of the movements are to do with flow, breathing, precision, control. So drop the leg. Then we're going to lift back up and you're going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly start to bring the leg back down. So then you're going to bring yourself back round so that you're laying on your back. So if you have a sore coccyx, this is where you might want to use a towel under your bum. So bring your legs in, bring your knees towards your chest, and we're going to roll out the feet. So feeling any energy and any tension that's in the ankles. Bringing your feet down so they're now on the mat. Your hands are solid on the mat and your legs come into tabletop position and we're going to do some toe taps. So you're bringing the toes down, they're hitting the mat and they're shooting them back up again. While you do this, it's important that your navel is towards your spine. So when I say that, I mean that your belly button is really tucked in. So you're crunching your abs and you're making sure that there's not an arch. So there's no space between your lower back and the mat. It's imprinted. So keep going with it, alternating the toe taps. And then we're going to advance the movement by doing both toes at the same time. So at this point, it's really tempting to arch your mid-back. So make sure that it's not coming off the mat as you go down. So you're really working the lower abdominals each time you go down. And let's keep going. Make sure the glare is forward, looking at the ceiling. Let's do one more and you're going to come back to tabletop position and you're going to lift the arms. So imagine that you've got that ball in between your hands. Bring the right leg down and the left arm down at exactly the same time. And then swap. So you're doing the opposites. So the opposite arm and the opposite leg are going to come down, touch the floor and the mat, and then come back up, making sure that they come back to the exact same position that they were in. So this is really going to help with your coordination and getting both sides of the body as strong as each other. So let's keep going. So you're tapping down, the arms coming back and back to center. Release the arms, and we're going to keep the legs there, and then we're going to toe tap but further away. So I want you to try and reach as far to the end of the mat as possible, and then come back to your tabletop position. And the further towards the edge of the mat that you can go, the more you're going to work your lower abs and your quads. So this is slightly more difficult than the last two exercises. And if you're struggling, if you're shaking, then you can go back to doing the toe taps that are closer to the body. Let's do one more on each side, and then you're going to relax the feet. Bring the knees in, roll out the ankles again, give yourself a nice lower back massage. And then you're going to come back to the tabletop, and this time we're going to do some crunches, some abdominal crunches. So what you're going to do is interlock your fingers, put them behind your head, and we're going to inhale to prepare. On the exhale, you're going to shoot the body up, trying to keep the legs exactly where they are and not rock forward. So you're really pulling from the core. Do not pull with your hands. You want to really try and use your abdominals. So feel a nice crunch and then come back down and relax. So the breathing pattern, you're inhaling to prepare as you come down, and you're exhaling as you squeeze to come up. So inhale and exhale, squeeze, come up. So everything that we do throughout the practice is to try and strengthen your core and therefore promote better spinal health. So relax the feet, give yourself a little breather, and then we're going to do opposite elbow to opposite knee. So you're inhaling, on the exhale you crunch up and try and tap the elbow to the knee and come back down and relax. Crunch up and back down, your feet are going back onto the mat so you're not in tabletop. And really try and twist and look towards that side. So we're doing oblique crunches, working all the lats. Let's just do 4 more. So squeezing the body up, relax, come back down and crunch. 2 more to go. Inhale, exhale to crunch. Come back down. And last one. Nice. Come back down, release the arms. Release the head. Make sure the feet are nice and soft. And your knees are still hip distance apart. So then we're going to inhale. On the exhale, we're going to come up. I'm going to reach the hands towards the toes to see if we can tap the heels. So we're going to go one side to another and really look towards the feet, look towards the toes. Again, working your abs, working your core. And don't worry if you can't touch your ankles, it's absolutely fine. Relax. Do a big inhale. On the exhale, come back up. We're going again for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release, come back down. Inhale. Exhale, come up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back down. Release the arms, release the shoulders. And last set, we're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Release back down. Release the hands onto the mat. Bring your knees in. Give them a nice rock back and forth. Curl towards the knees. Give yourself a nice spine stretch. And then relax the upper body onto the mat. Release your feet. Then we're going to get ready for our bridge series. So your hands are going to imprint onto the mat. Your feet are nice and strong. And you're going to roll the tailbone up, your hips towards the ceiling. And then we're going to drop back down again. So inhale to prepare, exhale to squeeze and push the hips towards the ceiling. And you really want to squeeze your glutes when you get to the top, really working your hamstrings and your quads. And every time that you do this, I don't want you to overarch. So you're actually creating a nice line from your shoulders to your knees. So the hips aren't being pushed up as far as you can go. They're going so that they're nicely in line. And come back down. Inhale to prepare, and then exhale to roll back up. This time, when you're up there, we're going to pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop back down. Let's do the same thing again with the pulsing. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to roll the tailbone up very slowly and come back to your pulsing. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we're really working your quads and come back down again. And let's do the same thing again. So inhale, exhale to come up. Keep that nice line from your shoulders to your knees, and we're pulsing up and down. Keep it going, and then drop all the way back down. Nice. We're going to go up again. So inhale, exhale, come up. Let's pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop back down. Release the bum onto the mat. And then this time we're going to come up really nice and strong in the glutes, and we're going to lift up the leg. And then we're going to drop back down again. So this is quite a difficult movement. So don't worry if you can't get that leg up very high, or if it's too painful on your back, just come back down. So we're alternating between sides. Let's go one more time. Inhale, exhale, come up. Your right leg comes up and back down, and then drop your bum to the floor. And let's go on the left side. Inhale, exhale, come up. Left knee comes up. And then shoots back down to the mat, and your bum comes back down. So one more time. Inhale, exhale to roll up. Right knee comes up, drops back down, and then your bum comes back to the mat. This time we're going to try something a little bit different. So we're coming up, you're going to extend the left leg, and then you're going to try and point it as straight as you can before rolling back down. So let's try again, but with the right leg. So inhale, exhale to peel up, right leg comes up, try and straighten the leg, and then put it down to the mat. So we're going to be doing more of that movement in the next few weeks, so just to give you a little taste. So bring your knees in, roll out the feet, give yourself a nice lower back massage, and then your feet come back onto the mat. And we're going to do our last exercise in the bridge. So come back into your bridge, and we're going to inhale, exhale, the arms are going to come up and over and tap the floor behind you. So we're keeping really nice and strong, squeezing the glutes, squeeze your core, squeeze your pelvic floor muscles, and we're going back and forth. So you're tapping on the floor and tapping behind you. The arms are moving in sync and touching the mat at the same time. And try and focus on your hamstrings and don't let the bum drop to the floor. And let's just do a few more. Still looking forward, the glares on a focal point in the ceiling. And then drop back down. And we're going to open up the hips. So I want you to put your hands on your pelvic girdle, and one by one we're going to open up the legs. So the knees are coming down towards the mat and then back to the centre. So having your hands on the hips is going to make sure that you're not rotating over to one side. You want to try and keep your pelvic girdle in exactly the same place. So really focus on opening up that leg and then bringing it back to centre. Nice. So release the hands, release the legs, bring your hands so that they're above your head and on the floor behind you. Then we're going to do the full roll up. So the arms are going to come up. You're going to inhale. On the exhale, you're going to shoot the body all the way up and then reach towards the feet. Dorsiflex the toes, pull the hands forward, and then slowly peel the spine back down again. And let's go again. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to peel the body up, squeeze the core, shoot the body forward, hinge from the hips and reach towards the toes. And then slowly go back down again. And again, inhale, exhale, push the breath out, squeeze the core, pull yourself forward. Imagine someone's grabbing your wrists, and then slowly move all the way back down again. So do this in your own time. If it's taking you a little bit longer to get up or get back down, that's absolutely fine. Just making sure that you're engaging the core and that you're really pulling yourself forward using your hands as support. And let's go back down. And again, inhale, exhale to come back up. Dorsiflex the feet. This is going to give you a nicer stretch in the hamstrings as you reach towards the feet. So when you're there, let's try and touch your toes and give yourself a nice spine stretch. So look towards your navel, feel a nice stretch, and then release the arms. Let's take a second to realign our posture. So you want to pull the body up straight, nice and tall. You're going to be looking forward, and we're just going to look over to the right side and look over to the left. And then we're going to go back to the right and then back to the left. Just feel a nice stretch in the neck. So use your hands, put them on your knees to pull yourself forward, and make sure that you sat nice and tall. We're going to inhale, the arms are going to come up, and then we're going to exhale, you're going to drop all the way down, as though you've got a ball in your hands that you're passing or putting in between your legs. So come back to neutral, inhale, and we're going to go again. Exhale, come down, feel the crunch in your abdominals. Inhale here, and then exhale to come back up. So inhale, exhale to drop down. Inhale, and then exhale, come up. So we're trying to take a breath when you find that crunch position, just to engage the core and hold for a second longer before you come back up again. This time, when you go back down, we're going to go down, we're going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back up again. Inhale, and we're going to exhale, come back down. We're going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back up. Big inhale, and exhale, come back down. And again, squeeze the core, hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back up. Inhale. And on the exhale, drop yourself all the way back down. Release the legs, release the head, and find that nice comfortable position, lying flat on your back. What we're going to do is we're going to stretch out the hamstrings. So I want you to bring your right leg up towards you. And we're going to walk the hands up the leg. So if you start at the bottom and you slowly walk the hands up, you're going to stretch even further. So try if you can to release the shoulders onto the mat when you do the stretch. And if you want to play around with dorsiflexing and plantar flexing the feet, it's going to give you a deeper stretch in your soleus and all along your hamstrings. So have a little play around with it and where it feels tight. Then we're going to bend the knee and shoot it over to the other side, opening up the arms for stability, and then we're going to look towards the opposite way. So whichever way your knee is, look the opposite. So you give yourself a nice spine stretch all the way along your body. And then slowly what we're going to do is rotate back to neutral. So come back to neutral, bring the knee in slightly, and then stretch it out. We're going to swap sides. So the same thing again, you're going to walk your hands up your leg to try and give yourself a nice hamstring stretch. Dorsiflex the foot, so point your feet towards you. And a lot of us have really tight hamstrings if we're sat all day. And if we've got kyphosis in our upper back where we're hunched forward, or if we've got lordosis. So then let's do the same thing again. Bend the knee, bring it over to one side, open up the arms, and then look to the opposite direction to give yourself a nice stretch all along the spine. Let's do a big inhale here and then exhale. One more breath, and then we're coming back to neutral. So bending the knee, squeeze it into the chest, release the legs, release the arms, and we're just going to do some lateral breathing. So our hands are going to come to just below our rib cage. We're going to inhale and try and push the hands out. So the breath is going to the sides of the body. And as you exhale, you're squeezing together, squeezing the core. So inhale, you're coming into the hands, pushing the hands out, and exhale, squeeze. So let's do a few deep breaths in your own time, trying to really fill up the lungs. And then as you exhale, push them out. Now I want you to bend the knees, bring the soles of your feet together so that your legs are in a butterfly stretch. So your knees are out to either side. Hands are going to come so that they're resting on your pubic bone, and we're just going to try and relax the whole body. So you're going to be opening up your hips as you relax. So make sure that your shoulders are nice and comfortable, the back down, your jaw is relaxed, your legs are relaxed, your feet are relaxed. And we're not thinking or concentrating on the breathing. You're just letting it flow in and out naturally. So allow any tension to be released and just completely relax the body. And slowly bring your knees back up. And we're going to wake the body up to do our last little cool down. And we're going to do the same as we did last session, where we rock onto the spine and then pull yourself up. So we're reactivating, remobilizing the spine. So you're going all the way back, your knees are coming up, and then you're rocking all the way forward. And again, rock, and then come up forward. So you can use your arms to help pull yourself up. Then let's straighten the legs. We're going to bring the opposite foot across and then pull that knee in towards your chest. So use your hands to support you. One hand's on your foot, the other one's on the knee. Pull your chest up nice and tall. Your glare is forward, your chin is still parallel to the mat. And we're just taking a deep glute stretch. And let's just look over to one side and then look to the other. So we've done a lot of neck mobility, trying to release any tension in the trapezius. And keep looking to one side and then to the other. And then come back to neutral and let's swap legs. So again, pulling that opposite knee close to your chest. Dorsiflex the opposite foot to give yourself a nice stretch in your hamstring. And then we're going to look to one side and then over to another, remembering our lateral breathing as we go along. So we're really stretching the neck, pulling yourself closer in towards that knee. And let's keep going from one side to another. So we're slowly going to reactivate the body, getting us ready for the rest of the day. And relax the feet. We're going to spin yourself all the way back round. Come into a butterfly position, so your soles are going to be touching. You're holding onto your feet, and we're just going to inch ourselves down slowly. So we're starting off with an upper back stretch in the neck. So looking towards the navel, and then you're slowly going to curve the spine. Bringing yourself closer towards the feet on every exhale, and giving yourself a deeper stretch. And try and go as low as you can. And let the head drop. And now we want to crawl out the hands. So bring them further in front of you to just have a deeper stretch. Continuing to look down and towards the navel. And just hold for one big in breath. And on the out breath, you want to come up. This time we're going to make a box position with our legs. So one leg is coming directly in front of you and the other one is going to the side. And we're going to do some lateral stretches. So you want to bend all the way over, really pull yourself to one side. And then exhale, come over to the other side. So making sure that you keep both sit bones on the mat. This is going to help stretch the hips. And maybe if you can, go slightly lower into that stretch. And then we're going to swap sides. So same thing again. One leg is straight across and the other one is parallel to the side of the mat. So inhale, on the exhale, you're curving all the way around. Nice deep stretch. And then back onto the other side. So each time that you do it, try and pull yourself over just slightly more. If you can, have the elbow touch the mat. And let's keep going. Back to the other side. And back to neutral. And then on to the other side. And just do a few more. And then what we're going to do is come so that we're cross-legged and sat up tall. So our shoulders are coming up and back down. You've got that nice alignment. We're going to roll out the neck. So you're going to inhale. On the exhale, you roll the head forward all the way around and then go over to the other side. So we've done a lot of upper back and mobility in our shoulders today. So let's finish off by shooting the arms up, and we're going to make some tiny little circles that are gradually going to get bigger and bigger. So we're doing full hula hoop size circles going forward. Remembering to keep the chin parallel to the mat, the gaze is forward. And if we can, let's hit our fingers on the mat as we go. So really nice big stretches, building the muscles in your upper arms, and then we're going to go the opposite direction. So starting off small and then slowly getting bigger and bigger, inhaling through the nose and then exhaling through the mouth. And make those movements bigger, touching the mat if you can, all the way up, and then keep going. And we nearly come to the end of our practice. So let's do a few more and then release the arms. Coming into a nice V position above the head, we're going to hold for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Start to slowly bring the arms back down onto the mat. Inhale, the shoulders come up, and exhale, they come back down. Inhale to come up, and exhale to come back down. And let's drop them all the way back round. Some big isolations in the shoulders. So we are relaxing the rhomboids, your trapezius, all your deep back muscles, and then let's go forward. So we're inhaling when we come up and exhaling to roll the shoulders forward, keeping the core nice and straight. Then let's just come both up. We're going to drop one down and then the other. And let's give yourself a nice stretch to one side. Use the hand to assist you to give yourself a better, deeper stretch in the neck. And then just hold for a few breaths, and we're going to switch to the opposite side. So the head comes down to the shoulder, using that hand to just pull the neck down. So then we're going to come and finish on a thoracic twist. So your palms are coming together in the center of your body, and we're going to twist, keeping the chin parallel with the hands. Come back to center and then twist. So well done for finishing the third mat Pilates session. I hope you have a good week. I hope you feel more mobile and stronger. And if you have any questions, just shoot them over. Or if there's anything that you want me to focus on specifically or are struggling with, then let me know and I can send you over some specific exercises depending on what parts of the body you're having trouble with. So thanks everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.